Who are the witches in Dragon Ball? At this point in the Dragon Ball series, in the main canon of the story, we have seen only 3 witches so far. We have seen Fortune Teller Baba, we have seen the old witch who fused with the old Supreme Kai to make him the old Supreme Kai, and now we're seeing a new character named Marba, which is partially a demon as well, and probably slightly different from Fortune Teller Baba and the old witch. But so far, we're going to just theme her in that class, but a little bit different because she is still part Majin as a form of demon from the demon realm. Now, who are the witches? And there's a little story about these characters because we don't know that much about them besides what are the qualifications to being a witch. Because when we look back at Fortune Teller Baba, she is the older sister of Master Roshi. It never explains how she became a witch, how she got her abilities, or what it was, even before it was stated to be like, she is like a fortune teller. But later on, we kind of see a little bit more to it than just that. So it's very tricky about her backstory, how she's able to just pretty much travel to the other world and back, and also involved with the other world. She's not just traveling over there, but she is also working with the other world, because anytime when Goku or Vegeta returns, she's the one that's kind of like the guide, attending them and bringing them to it, where she kind of takes on a role almost similar to Death, but not exactly. And that is kind of like something interesting a little bit, if we could get a little bit more into her backstory of how she became that and gained those abilities, because that's some pretty interesting and powerful abilities that she has and doesn't get talked about enough. Even back in Dragon Ball, in a certain filler episode where Goku gets to fight some of these other warriors and also gets to meet his grandpa again. So these are kind of like some interesting things that we get to see when we're talking about Fortune Teller Baba. Now, the old witch who merged with the old Supreme Kai, we don't really know nothing about. We don't even know what's her actual name, but it's just kind of interesting to see that how before they're explaining about the world of the Kais, that the Kais are the only ones kind of like allowed over there, but we don't know if there's other beings over there. And they talk about how it's sacred grounds, but ultimately, as we do realize, there have to be other people in that world somewhere, because for the Kais just to be there by themselves, and like I said, ultimately there's not that many Kais as well, so there have to be other creatures or spiritual beings that live there. And for this old witch just to be able to sneak up in that realm, and it's not saying that she can't just go there, but they may be having other type of beings that's there and who we don't get to see really. So that is something interesting, especially now with Dragon Ball Daima, where we're seeing that the Kais they're originating from the demon realm. So at this point, when we look at the Kais, which is pretty much the Glins, which that's the race that they're from, there's a lot of new open theories that the world of the Kai is not really their home realm like that. But as we got Kais like King Kai, the lower tiers, who's supposed to be the creator of worlds and planets and stuff like that, which we never really get to see any of them really create planets or anything like that, which we're looking at the Supreme Kais, we're not seeing them create anything but just observing. So there's still so much things that we got to get to learn. I'm hoping that Dragon Ball Daima kind of explains some of this stuff. But going back to the old witch, she's there to sneak up on the old Supreme Kai, and they end up fusing together and never really gets to break that fusion. But ultimately, this should also give the old Supreme Kai some extra abilities that the witches have as well, and it's probably how he's able to do some of the things that he's able to do on top of his regular Supreme Kai powers that he probably gained and knowledge of that he got trained in. But ultimately, we still don't really know too much about that. Now, we have the latest character, Marba, who was stated to be the one who created Majin Buu, and seen to be creating other Majin Buus as well, which is supposed to be a new one that's coming right now. So there's little to be known about this character, and her being from the demon realm, she's partially also a Majin as well, which is like a demon person. So we don't know exactly the explicit race, because she does look different from our other two, witches, as we got Baba, who's had to been somewhat human because she's the older sister of Master Roshi, but we don't know if she's a half sister or they have the same exact parents. We don't really know, and that's something that they don't even really talk about. And then we have the old witch who just shows up and fuses with the old Supreme Kai, and we don't have any backstories to know if she was once human or if she's just a spiritual being over there. And I did an old video as well saying, is fortune teller Baba a god? Because at the end of the day, we see the fusion it can't be broken unless if it's two gods that fuse together. And that's the reason why Vegito was able to defuse inside Majin Buu, which is so much retcons to that, but it becomes permanent for Kibito Kai, and of course the old Supreme Kai, his thing is permanent. So that would mean that the witches have to be some level of a god. And I'm seeing that with fortune teller Baba being able to travel back and forth between the regular world and also the other world. So she must be promoted to some level of a god and is working with the other world as well. So they're becoming spiritual beings and something not of your ordinary human. So with that, we're definitely seeing a little bit similarities between these witches, and with Marba kind of just being someone from the demon realm. She is technically a demon, but also a witch as well. So it makes her a little bit different from the other two counterparts. But so far, these are the three witches that we have in the main story of Dragon Ball. As far as, we're not talking about anything dealing with video games or side characters or anything else like that, but these are the only characters so far, and we need to get more backstories about these characters to see where they come from and their history and pretty much their abilities as well, because we don't get to really see enough of their abilities. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and check our other videos. We got more videos like this. And get in the comments and tell us, do you guys want to see more about the witches in Dragon Ball and get more of their origins and their backstory?